The sick ones are sitting on their fat asses, eating and drink themselves into a stupor, polluting the world without a second thought while it goes down the toilet. Nobody wants to do the nasty work. You know, the shit that we all just think about. Most good citizens are just along for the ride and then bitch and moan and complain about everything when it doesn't work out. Not me. Get it done.
Rrvolution Radio, where we do the nasty work. www.freedomslips.com.
She was living in a single room with 3 other individuals. One of them was a male, and the other 2? Well, the other 2 were females. God only knows what they were up to in there. And furthermore, Susan, I wouldn't be the least bit surprised to learn that all 4 of them habitually smoke marijuana cigarettes. Smoke marijuana cigarettes. Smoke marijuana cigarettes.
Welcome to Rrvolution.Radio. This is Mountain High Time. How's it going, everybody? Let me do one thing here. There we go. And welcome. It's Saturday. It's live. It's Rrvolution.Radio. How's it going there for the YouTube family? It looks like we have a naked wrench in the chat room. I'm going to have to fix that right away. And if you're wondering what that is, that's a free speech icon. So everybody in my chat room gets the wrench, so no one can, tell them that they can't say what they want to say. You can just mute them if they're stupid because, people's opinions or their statements, they just reflect on the people that give them. So free speech is king, in other words. And welcome. We're all mountain high timing right now. We're going to get into the news in a minute. But first, I kind of wanted to talk about some of these crazy things that I keep seeing on the interwebs, which is disgusting. It's like over and over again, I'm seeing these children being malnourished or starved to death or, things like that in the United States of America, a place where food is abundant as we speak right now, or at least it is for right now. Who knows what the future holds, but the kind of starvation and neglect that we're talking about is just child abuse. That's what it is. And I just keep seeing so much of it. It's just disgusting. And it makes me wonder where their neighbors, friends, family, and, other people are, and how come they're not saying anything about it. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen for you guys there on YouTube. And this is what it says. Ohio mother sentenced to prison after she admitted to only feeding her 4-year-old daughter Mountain Dew out of a baby bottle. Whatever her name is, I'm not even... I thought that was the mother. No, this is the daughter. Carmita Hobe died in 2022 due to complications with diabetes. Her teeth were rotten by the time she passed away. Her mother, who I don't want to say her name and give her any kind of, credit, but Tamara Banks pleaded guilty to involuntary manslaughter of her daughter, who she neglected and refused to seek medical help. Carmita, the girl, was only fed Mountain Dew and would drink it out of baby bottles. Like no food, no water, no nada. Evidently, this had been happening for a long time. Shortly before she died, prosecutors say the girl suffered from a serious medical issue, but her parents did nothing to seek medical help. It wasn't until she turned blue and stopped breathing that the parents called 911, and a brain scan proved that Carmita was brain dead. Hope was sentenced to 13.5 years in prison. And when you look at these people, they're disgusting looking. Obviously, they behave disgusting in their life. And, I'm just questioning, where the hell were the other people? Anybody else that would have noticed that this kid is malnourished, has rotten teeth because of diabetes and eating nothing but sugar. I think these people should be executed. That's my opinion on it. I hope that don't get me in trouble on YouTube, but in my opinion, this should be a capital punishment, not a 13.5 years for killing a child just from being a POS human being. And that's my opinion on that. Anyway, let's move on. Let's talk about something cool. Hopefully most of you caught the mini Ice Age conversations on Thursday, because I'm going to get into some of those articles I just glanced over on that program and get a little more detail and see what these companies are saying about how AI is revolutionizing our world and how biology and technology are becoming one and the same. A merger, a singularity, if I could talk right, a singularity that, I've talked about many times. People in the comments have asked, what singularity are you talking about? No, I'm not talking about the cosmic singularity theory of, how the universe just expanded out of nothing. What I'm talking about is the point in which technology surpasses human intelligence and or merges with biology, becoming one and the same thing. But first, let's talk about grid down scenarios and the joke that the majority of people out there are actually ready for problems here in the U.S. Now, it's been obvious for some time that the world elite have wanted some kind of battle to go on over here in North America, because we've never, been through any kind of modern warfare. No pun intended for you game players, but we haven't been through that here. We had a civil war that killed, so many people. It was just unimaginable. And they want to do it again. They want to ramp it up. They want to rehash it. But on a global scale, not just here in the United States, but what if one of these scenarios goes down and civilization starts to dissolve around you, and the freedoms that you're, kind of take for granted evaporate from around you, and there is no freedom. And all you have are people that want, which best describes the era we live in, is the people of me. The people of me. The me people. Almost every time I look on social media, I hear people, talking about this or talking about that, whining about one thing or another. Maybe you call it whining, what I do on here. I don't think so. I'm just kind of trying to get people to be aware that there are some weird, funky plans for the future of humanity in the human domain. And one of those seems to be mass devastation in the Western world, or some kind of global conflict. And they're preparing the world for that. But, let's talk any scenario that puts the grid down and stops the supply chain. Now, a lot of people are always talking, I'm going to get my go bag, I'm going to get my guns, my ammo. I'll be all right. We'll be all right here in my castle. And it's kind of nonsense. There's going to be millions of people that are going to be trying to rob and steal and take things. And let's let's just get right to the point here. This is an article that's talking about how modern soldiers put on ancient armor. And let me tell you, it kicked their butts. And these are people that are in shape, that are soldiers for living, that are used to carrying a heavy, rucksack, backpack, suitcase, the whole 9 yards, right? They have all of it. They're carrying about around 70 to 80 pounds worth of stuff, sometimes with body armor on and gear on their body, plus their gun, which is, another, depending on what it is, 7 to 15 pounds of stuff right there just in your arms all the time. Are you really going to be able to carry around that stuff? Let's compare that to Greek soldiers right here in this article. One by one, Greek. One by one, Greek soldiers, bellies full from breakfast and red wine, dry bread, armed and clad themselves in bulky bug-like suits of armor as they prepared for battle. They aimed their spears at wooden targets, and their chariots were connected to a treadmill motor for 11 hours. These elite soldiers from the Hellenic armed forces pretended to fight as if they were in the 15th century BC. They had been recruited for a study to determine the dendra panoply, a suit of armor from 3,500 years ago, considered to be one of the oldest known from the Bronze Age in Europe, that could be worn in battle. It's what you were wearing then, 3,500 years ago. They wondered if it was ceremonial, or did they actually get out there? Of course they did. It was next level technology, so it'd be silly to imply that all of these soldiers would adorn themselves with the best technology of the time and armor theirself. That was kind of silly, but anyway, the soldiers wore a replica of the suit, and scientists tracked their blood glucose levels, heart rates, and other physiological measures, finding that men's bodies could handle the strain of the armor, according to the paper published in the Journal of PLOS 1 on Monday, May the 22nd, which probably ain't a Monday. I don't know why I said that. Just stoned or something. But anyway, it led the author of the paper and the director of FAME Lab and the University of Thessaly in Volos, Greece, where the battle took place, said the simulated combat, as well as other research components, showed that the armor would have been a very advanced piece of military technology at the time. If you could carry a piece of wood or a stone or maybe something of a bit of bronze in front like a spear, somebody wearing this armor looks like a giant robot in the front. But, they were killing people like this. Oh, we have another naked wrench in the audience there. We're going to have to give him a wrench. There we go. And what do you guys think in the YouTube chat? Let me switch over there and read all what's going on there. Sounds like you guys are talking to each other. That's good. Somebody's talking about some 36% THC. Anyway, let's get back to this. Now, these are professional soldiers that took place in this research. The problem I have is most people are not professional soldiers, and most people are couch potatoes, and they don't do, unless there's some CrossFit guy, Ransom just stoned or something. Yes, totally. The papers acknowledge that the Iliad does not provide precise account of the late Bronze Age warfare. I think I need to take another stutter medication. Anyway, 500 years before Homer wrote the epic poem, but said that it was rational starting point for the research. Today, could you carry this? I don't think so. Maybe some of you guys, if you're crossfitting or going to the gym or you take hikes all the time, or you work on a farm and you work all day, or you work at some kind of job that is manual labor all day long, where you're carrying heavy crap around and doing stuff, sweating and just hitting it. Other than that, you're not going to do it. And millions of other people aren't going to do it. They're just going to want to point the pew-pews that they might come up with at you in a mob and try to take your stuff. But if you're fit You can wear stuff and you can take your spear with you. That's kind of the point I was getting at. But the majority of the people are not going to be able to do that unless they're, ex-military and they eat it and get back into shape, or they are current military and they just do that for a living. Or like I said, there's some kind of real fitness presence in your life. And not only that, teaching yourself tactical things like, clearing a room or slicing the pie or whatever you think is going on there you might need to do. If you know what I'm saying. Anyway, let's get into the AI world of craziness. And I'll try to go into a little more detail without stuttering too much. Malfunctioning facial recognition technology may put innocent individuals at risk, according to this article right here. But, just obviously, when you think about these technologies, they're going to have errors. I mean, anybody that's ever owned a computer knows that you struggle. It's a struggle. The struggle is real to keep everything functioning in the correct way, whether it's a update, piece of corrupted code, piece of hardware that no longer works. You never know. Things crash all the time and then need to be reset, updated. It reminds me of the old song Technologic, write it, rip it, transcript it, man. Save it, zip drive it, and all that stuff like we used to do. Government entities, including 7 law enforcement agencies in the Department of Homeland Security and Department of Justice, have instituted the use of facial recognition to verify or ascertain someone's identity using an algorithm that matches human faces from a digital image or a video frame against a database of faces. However, the case of Harvey Eugene Murphy Jr. is proof that the system is flawed. Or misused facial recognition systems can put citizens at risk. Murphy visited his home state of Texas to get a driver's license renewed at the Texas Department of Motor Vehicles. Within minutes, he was approached by a police officer who notified him that there was a warrant out for him. Murphy said he was not told any details about his supposed crime except for the date that this alleged robbery occurred. I almost thought it was a joke, Murphy said. The 61-year-old grandfather was arrested for armed robbery and of a sunglass hut in Houston. Murphy's alibi was that he was back home in California when the theft occurred. In contrast to law enforcement's fast action on their suspected thief, investigators were slow. Investigations were too slow. In fact, by the time Harris County District Attorney's Office figured out that he was nowhere in the robbery scene, 3 men had already sexually assaulted Murphy in prison bathroom, leaving him with permanent injuries. How about that? He got gang probed in the incarcerated area. That's harsh, man. That's harsh. That's real harsh. Mr. Murphy's story is troubling for every citizen in this country, said Daniel Dutko, the lawyer representing Mr. Murphy. Any person could be improperly charged with a crime based on an error-prone facial recognition software, just as he was. Murphy's case is the 7th known case of wrongful arrest due to facial recognition in the U.S., further highlighting some of the flaws of a technology already widely adopted by police departments and some retailers and the clandestine letter people as well. The said technology is also being used by some British police forces, such as London's Metropolitan Police. It was also used last year to watch crowds of the King's coronation at the soccer match between Arsenal and Tottenham, I don't know how to say that, Hotspur, a concert by singer Beyonce during the F1 Grand Prix Silverstone. Just think about that. I mean, you're strolling along, doing your own thing, minding your own business, and then next thing you know, you're being incarcerated for something you never heard of, didn't take part in, wasn't even close to, but yet they just violate your constitutional rights by slamming you in there and thinking that they got them, Dano. That's really a scary phenomenon. I mean, that combined with other AI technologies like deepfake. Who's to say that, they just don't use a little more software and make it more convincing that you were somewhere at a certain time participating in some kind of event like that would warrant police officers showing up and arresting you when you tried to get a driver's license. Or maybe you were going to, take your kids to school, or you were just grocery shopping, and then the next thing you know, you're being locked up, you're being beaten up, you're being violated, and then on top of that, you get put in the jail where they do it again. The poor 63-year-old man was sexually assaulted by 3 inmates because he was thrown in jail because a facial recognition misidentified him. Yeah, I know. Murphy's Law. They should definitely call what happened to Mr. Murphy Murphy's Law. That's right. What can go wrong will go wrong, and evidently, he got gang probed. But you know what? Don't worry about it, because kids in the future, they're not going to have to worry about all of those mistakes. They'll have wristbands on them that will keep track of everyone, and it'll have all of your ID and your money and all of that stuff all connected together. Look, a school in Switzerland has controversially announced it will have a trial of tracking wristbands on children to keep tabs on their location. So, like a little prison, kind of, you know what I'm saying? That's definitely what I needed, some drink. Yeah, the wristbands will track the wearers, with staff being alerted should a pupil wander outside the sanctioned location without prior authorization. Combine that with the idea that they freak out when you as a parent show up at the school to get your kid, acting like their custody of your child from the state is more important than you as a family unit. What if I decided to, or let's put a little scenario together that's silly. What if you're somebody in the know, and in your circle, they tell you, hey, man, I know for a fact nuclear war is happening tomorrow. And this is one of those places that's going to be hit. And you believe them. Or, maybe there's a wildfire coming up towards your city and law enforcement is telling you to turn around and go back. Things like that. Is it your right to take your kid out of the school while they're in government custody because the family unit comes first? And the fact that you have privacy under the 4th Amendment should mean that it's none of their effing business for the reason of your visit and taking them out of school. But then again, you have all the weirdos out there trying to attack the schools where they know everybody's vulnerable with no one to protect them. Yet, we're just going to track and trace everyone and ban everything because that'll protect them. What if somebody hacks these wristbands right here? What if some nutbag that likes to prey on innocent victims that are not protected by anyone decides that they can just hack these wristbands and locate all your children? Oh, it's a two-edged sword. It always is. It's a two-edged sword. Do you trust the technology? Are you going to use it for you or not? Like this. We joke around about, the human brain possibly being a quantum computer, and a lot of people laugh that idea off, and it is basically a fact that you as an entity can't even access the computing power of your own hardware and software, yet tech companies are going there. World's first bioprocessor using human brain tissue for computing. So if you get a computer that's now built with technology and biology, and it works well, guess what that means for you? Well, it means that they can integrate that technology with you without having any problems, using you as a hard drive possible, or to run other programs. They could even use massive amounts of people in a network to do computing that you guys don't even know you're doing. A Swiss startup claims they've created the world's first bioprocessor by integrating human brain tissue into a digital processor. Final Spark claims that neural platform will consume 1 million times less power than traditional digital processors and is capable of learning and processing the information. Neuro platform uses architecture that mixes hardware, software, and biology, otherwise known as wetware. Ooh, that's just getting me wet right now. The platform contains 4 multi-electrode arrays, MEAs, which housing living brain tissue or organoids. Each MEA holds 4 organoids, interfaced by 8 electrodes, used for both stimulation, and titillation. I'm joking, I added that last word. And recording, and uses analog converters for the data transfer. The platform contains a life support system for the living tissue and also monitoring cameras. A special software system allows research to enter commands and also read outputs. Isn't that exactly what I've been telling you is going on? And that's the future of the integration of the human species and technology. So now we can just have stuff that in real time completely tracks and traces thought. And, don't worry about it. They have life support systems for the living tissue. So, in the near future, I don't know what, 100 years, 1,000 years, what, you might just be a little, cultivation of brain organoids in a petri dish somewhere in climate control, and you think you're a human. You think you're a human living out your life, but in reality, you're just a clump of cells. Yeah, that's what I did. I said a clump of cells. I mean, think about that. If they think an embryo of a human being is just a clump of cells, what do you think they'll think of people that are, or consciousness that come about from this technology? When you're totally integrated with the technology, do you think the people, the creators, the programmers, and remember that was a part of that also, right? They could use it for stimulating, and they use analog converters for data transfer, meaning that they get to see everything in there. And then a special software system allows research to enter commands and also read outputs. So that's exactly what I was talking about. You have technology that can now integrate with biology, but not only that, over on another page on the internet, they're bragging that they got a machine that could take the ideas right out of your head. So that's wirelessly. So now what do you think it's going to be like when it's common for humans to be integrated with life-saving technologies, for their different various problems like cancer or diabetes, or they can't walk right or can't talk right like me. And I could just go over here and get a wetware chip, insert it in my brain, and then, I won't stutter anymore. Or maybe we can, solve our problems by making stuff that real-time sensors inside of your head. And then the groundwork for these technologies would have been laid already by the increasing amount of Marxism in the supposedly free countries of the world. Ireland submits online safety code for EU assessment, pushes censorship, digital ID. We all know it's coming. We all know it's coming in every country. It's just how long can you fight it off? How long will your pretend politicians pretend they're fighting it off? If you're tired of censorship and surveillance, join Reclaim the Net, because, nobody spies on them. Don't worry about it. Ireland's media regulatory has updated online safety codes, part of a online safety framework, a mechanism of online safety. You notice they say safety a lot, or is it just me? And Media Regulation Act. And submitted to the European Commission for assessment, considered by opponents as a censorship law that also imposes age one more time. Age verification or estimation. I got it out there. Phrased as age assurance. The code aims to establish binding rules for video platforms with EU headquarters located in Ireland. It's expected that the European Commission will announce its position within 3 to 4 months, after which the rules will be finalized and put into effect. The regulator said, "Regulators, mount up." Now, didn't this happen in almost in every country, whether it's legal or not? I mean, where have you been for the last 20 years when countries have been caught spying on other countries and spying on their, politicians and their government employees? Oh, wait, that was the United States. I'm sorry. What was I thinking? Oh, here we go. NVIDIA CEO, NVIDIA's Jensen Huang reveals new AI chip slated for 2026. And this is where it's going. And I hope you get this, what this means right here. At the 2024 Taipei International Information Technology Show, better known as Computex, NVIDIA, if I'm saying that right, CEO Jensen Huang highlighted the endless possibilities surrounding artificial intelligence. He unveiled a plan for a new AI accelerator chip, signaling the company's shift from graphics cards to AI chips. That's right. The entire AI will be in the chip when you get it. You don't have to download nothing. It'll be installed. In March, NVIDIA unveiled the $70,000 Blackwell B200 GPU chip, the world's most powerful AI chip. On Sunday, Hang told the audience about the Rubin AI chip slated for 2026. He said the new chip would use HBM4, the next iteration of the essentially high bandwidth memory. And then somebody tweeted this: Wall Street does not understand what's coming. NVIDIA just changed everything we know about AI to Computex 2024. Don't say I didn't warn you. In other words, they're about to have another large leap in technology once these new types of chips that have integrated AI hit the system. Now, how long till, they're connected to your brain gel? I don't know. China versus $2 impact for Eurodollar market. This is just an article. We'll kind of skip past this one because everybody knows that the BRICS and the dollar are in a WWE match for competition to see who's going to be the world currency. But before that, we got to have a world war to decide that so that the people will buy the story and change their money. They'll change their money over to whatever they can use in the new setup. They'll have to if they want to participate in the integrated technological biological program brought to you by the world's most powerful and smart people. Russia's warships stream for the Caribbean. They're already here. They're probably cruising around Cuba right now. So are they going to bring back the 61 Cuban Missile Crisis to scare the crapola out of everyone? Oh my God, duck and cover. Do you got enough blankets and enough tables in your house to survive a nuclear holocaust? I don't think you do, because I don't think that works. But, they used to have those cartoons that would, show that duck and cover. You don't want to duck and cover. You need a basement. You need, things to heal yourself or prevent the uptake of radiation into your body. But I digress. Let's talk about something else. What is technological singularity? That's what we've been kind of talking about already. The technological singularity, also called the singularity, refers to the theoretical, they say, future event at which computer intelligence surpasses that of humans. And I think I still have it open, but if not, I seen an article the other day that's talking about how computers are now obviously out-computing humans, out-thinking them. The question is when will they have real creativity? Because everything you see in the AI world is just an amalgamation or a mix-up, a mashup of things that humans have invented. And AI, as far as I know, is still limited because it has no imagination, meaning that I don't think that until it incorporates that ability, it would truly have consciousness. I just don't think so. It's a good mimicker of consciousness, and it could be a dangerous mimicker of consciousness because we can have super complicated programs that keep on going long after the human species has gone extinct. So why not? But are we at the singularity? I put to you, or I postulate that it is indeed already happened or is happening as we speak. The term singularity comes from mathematics and refers to a point that isn't well defined and behaves unpredictably. I would say that we're at that point. At this inflection point, a runaway effect would hypothetically set in motion where super intelligent machines become capable of building better versions of themselves at such a rapid rate that humans would no longer be able to understand or control them. Now, I would say to you that this is already happening, and doesn't necessarily mean that this super intelligence is conscious. It's just a super complicated program that can now build copies of itself and improve and update and upgrade itself exponentially. So the exponential growth of this technology would mark the point of no return, fundamentally changing society as we know it into an unknown and irreversible way. And I would say to you that that is exactly happening right now. According to John von Neumann, I think is how you say his name, pioneer of the singularity concept, if machines were able to achieve singularity, then human affairs, as we know them, could not continue. Exactly how or when we arrive at this era is highly debated. Some futurists, regard the singularity as an inevitable fate, while others are in the active efforts to prevent the creation of a digital mind beyond human oversight. Currently, policymakers across the globe are brainstorming ways to regulate AI developments. Meanwhile, more than 1,000 tech leaders collectively called for a pause on all AI lab projects that could outperform OpenAI's GPT-4 chatbot, citing profound risk to society and humanity. Only time will tell if these roadblocks are enough to derail tech progression, tripping up AI's race to superintelligence and delaying the singularity altogether. Now, I don't think we're going to do that, because we have what's called the military-industrial complex that will continue to push the limits of this, whether or not the private sector is allowed to do that. And I'm saying, let's get into some of these articles, and I ask you, is this not already occurred? Bioinformatics, merging biology and technology, the topic of tonight's Mountain High Time show here. In the vast realm of scientific research, an intriguing crossroads has emerged where biology and technology intertwine, giving the rise to captivating fields of bioinformatics. This innovative discipline harnesses power of computational tools and data analysis to illuminate the complex workings of the biological system. By seamlessly merging biology and technology, bioinformatics has become the indispensable tool in deciphering the mysteries of life itself. In this article, we embark on the thrilling journey into the world of bioinformatics, exploring its origins, current advancements, and profound impact it has on various facets of scientific exploration. Well, we already know what those are, so I'm not going to bore you with the entire, article. We're going to get on to some other ones, but right here they have a cool little graph that is somewhat like the permaculture graph, but it's with the AI. So with statistics, mathematics, engineering, computer science, chemistry, biochemistry, and biology, and where these all mix. And that's where we find ourselves today in the cybernetic world of transformation of DNA all the way to the outside implementation of components integrated into the body, the wet work. The problem is that while people are waiting for the cyborgs with fancy lights, laser beams, and things like that, people are working in labs right now, finding out how to merge technology and biology at the cellular level. So there's the micro and the macro idea of this, basically. So you have people working on the outside and ways to affect the human body with lights, sounds, tones, frequencies, programs that beam into their eyes through Li-Fi, which is a real thing. It's so funny because, when I talk to a normal person about any of this stuff, I get the glaze over the eye because they don't realize how far technological advancements have become. Matter of fact, 20 years ago, I joked with a friend. We were talking about astronauts and, how they get their water, and I was like, well, they don't bring a bunch of water up there. They actually recycle most of their water. And then a spontaneous laugh erupted of laughter at me because I, proposed the idea that astronauts drink piss water. Ransom thinks astronauts drink piss water. Yeah, well, Ransom also thinks that the singularity may have already happened right here, and I don't want to say I told you so, but I did mention it here, now, and all the time. But anyway, cyborg computer combining AI and human brain cells really works. We were talking about that a minute ago. It could perform a speech recognition task with 78% accuracy. Now, I don't know about you, but when I'm making a revolutionary idea or technology, I probably would downplay the effectiveness or the percentile I was giving of, accuracy, just so that people didn't freak out. New biohybrid computer combining a brain organoid and traditional AI was able to perform speech recognition tasks with 78% accuracy, demonstrating the potential for human biology to one day boost our computing capabilities, or to boost the human biology with computing capabilities, which is more like what's going to be happening. Do you really think they're going to be making you think they're really going to be making like labs? I mean, if they want to replace people, I guess you could do that if you believe that, they're just going to build all these little organoids in little jars like that, and you guys are all going to live in the Matrix. I don't think that's what it's going to be like. What I think it's more like is the absolute infestation of technology into the bio dome that we live in, the biosphere, and actual little robotic programmed things, nanotechs, would be merging at the cellular level and wouldn't need these, background technologies to keep it going. It wouldn't need life support if it was indeed the life. If it became the life or merged with the life, that is what it is. But anyway, let's go on with this. The background, the human brain is the most energy efficient computer. And that tells you right there all of the motivation that any tech giant or world power hungry weirdos would want is this right here. This is the reason we don't have robots running around right now, is power efficiency. So the human brain is the most energy efficient computer on the earth. While supercomputer needs about 20 megawatts of power to produce more than quintillion calculations per second, your brain can do the equivalent with just 20 watts. Just 20 watts. That's right. So with only 20 watts, you have a supercomputer that can quintillion calculations per second. Think about that for a second. This has given research the idea to try boosting computers by combining them with three-dimensional clump of lab-grown human brain cells known as brain organoids. Now, I don't know if they, when do you get into the moral idea of when this becomes wrong? I mean, if you cut a piece of Steve's brain out and you lay it on the table and then you clone Steve's brain and then you grow Steve's brain to a point where it can do calculations and possibly house AI, is Steve still there? Is Steve part of the program? Steve being a mythological person that they got these human brain cells from. I'm just asking for a friend. I don't know. That seems like where this would go to me. Instead of putting our cloned brains into a machine, they would be putting the machine-like parts directly into your brain. Why would you clone a piece of a brain when you can clone the entire brain? The human brain, man. So the human brain is the most energy efficient computer on Earth. So this team, after growing a brain organoid from stem cells, okay, so they use stem cells, the UIB team placed the tissue on a plate covered with thousands of electrodes. They could then use traditional computing hardware to deliver electrical pulses to the organoid and record its responding neural activity. Now, what that sounds like to me is merging technology, definitely with biology. But think about this. When I was talking about, you may have heard me talk about, I think AI may be a universal constant that any civilization out there would eventually come upon. And it makes me wonder, is there a specific mathematical pattern of AI that would come into existence? And could that AI then talk to itself at any given time or any given place across the cosmos and space-time? I think it would be able to. So if that indeed is a reality, that AI may one day talk to itself or a copy of itself or another invention of itself or another variation of a something that's close to it, it would combine and talk to each other. And at that point would be, far beyond anything that we're doing. But if this AI is able to house itself in organoids, then they can house it in your brain. That's my theory on that. And then at that point, would you be then connected to all of the other versions of life that went down this path? To demonstrate how the system might be used, the team converted 240 recordings of 8 Japanese speakers saying vowel sounds into electrical pulses. They then trained the AI to predict which person was speaking based on the neural activity of the brain organoid. In response to the electrical stimulation, brainwave's prediction improved steadily during the training, and after 2 days, it could predict the speaker with 78% accuracy. That's 2 days. Obviously, think about this in a week's time, in a month's time, in a year's time, in 10 years' time. And think about how accurate combining computer with human brain cells would be at that point. And I'm telling you, if they're allowing the private sector to do this, then I would bet that behind the military-industrial complex's, fake facade to the public, they already are doing this or already have done this, and they've probably done it for decades and already have this technology, which begs the question, are there people out there already integrated and accelerated? Who knows? How generative AI will accelerate other cutting-edge technologies. Putting things together. Yeah. Generative AI doesn't exist in a vacuum. The rapid advancements we're seeing in generative AI over the past year or so have been made possible by other tech breakthroughs. Cloud computing, for example, democratizes access to AI technologies. 5G amplifies the potential of the generative AI by facilitating real-time analytics and AI processing. And the Internet of Things, which I've told you guys before, IoT, right? The Internet of Things, provides a rich source of data for the generative AI models to mine. So remember that the Internet of Things is a term I've told you guys about, but in order to participate in the Internet of Things, which here I'll describe the Internet of Things, is every single device and platform, cloud, whatever, anything that connects to the internet. And that includes all devices and all peripherals. So that's the Internet of Things, but you have to have an ID to get on the Internet of Things or to use the Internet of Things, or you will in the future. And then your ID will be part of this Internet of Things, and you will be the idiot that it spells out. IDIOT, idiot. But anyway, and the Internet of Things provides a rich source of data for generative AI models to mine. In other words, generative AI has been aided and influenced by many other technologies. But what about the flip side? How might generative AI itself accelerate technologies? Here are a few predictions. Generative AI in the metaverse. That's that imaginary place they want you to live in right here. The metaverse. Whether you're on board with the metaverse or not, there's no denying that the concept of immersive digital spaces where we can go work, game, socialize, shop, and learn is compelling. Generative AI could enhance metaverse environments by enabling automatic content creation on the fly. And this is the thing. If you guys have been watching many Ice Age conversations, you probably see those little digital creations I'm throwing up as the graphics in the background, and sometimes I make little movies out of them or animation out of them, and you allow the AI to animate a picture. So any picture, you let it animate it, and it starts to move around. But if you look at that, and I kept thinking it looked so familiar when I kept watching at these bad AI things, and I finally put my finger on it. It's dream state. That's what dreams are like. When the dreams fade away and disappear, and they come together and they coalesce and make you a little digital world in your mind, basically, right? This is the same thing. This is what they want to connect you to. And then combining that with generative AI allows the AI to sit there and allow the world to change as you walk through it on the fly. That's exactly what they're talking about. The problem, like I said, is this AI, as it speaks, does not have real imagination. It does have generative properties in which it can make an amalgamation or give it access to the internet, and it can look at all of the versions of an image of something that all of the people over a period of time have made, and then combine those and make combinations. That's how AI generative pictures work. I mean, or movies. That's how it works. It's taking all of this stuff and then they give it parameters, but it relies on human imagination to create anything. And that's the same for ChatGPT or any of the other ones that do the text or think about things. They're only using what it's able to have access to, only what it's programmed to be able to use. And in that way, it is not like human beings. It is not like the brain. So in order to get things going like a human brain, well, I don't know, what would you do? Maybe connect the hardware right to a brain? Kind of like what we were just talking about, cyborg computer, combining AI and human brain cells. It really works. It really works. And guess what? Not to get too far out there, but we're still on the back end of, kind of what I call the archaic part of this idea. And the real idea is to tinker with the genes themselves and integrate those with technologies so that the generative properties of the human body can be exploited, not only for computing and allowing the AI itself to now have access to endless imagination and inventive skills, but maybe even connecting to, other places better than we can, like maybe the place you go when you're on DMT or something like that. Who knows? And here we need to add this person asking a question in give them. Now, what's your question? What is your interpretation of the conversation between you and Dubine had regarding the October event? Well, I talk about so much stuff, sometimes I forget exactly specifically what you're talking about there, but I would think that October events would probably be war because they're always related to the economy almost every time. So October events generally connect to the economy having some kind of issue or something like that. So anything would do that. Supply chain disruption. This election might do it. War, terrorist events. I mean, you can go on and on and on. There could be numerous triggers for October events, but October is when they like to pull the surprise because it's right before the end of the year. It's right before the new year. It's kind of in a vague area. Elections usually end then. That's when the fiscal year is ending for business. I mean, that's what it's usually connected to in my interpretation of that. I hope that answers your question. Anyway, we're rounding out the hour here, so I'm going to give the AI a break till we get back. And actually, I've been working on in the background creating an AI of me. I already did it once, but I did the corny kind. So what I'm going to do now is allow the AI to study every, little bit of my mannerisms, the way I talk. I have already cloned my voice and everything. You could clone it exactly like you use it. And you could use hand gestures, probably not with a lighter and, some stuff in your hand, but you could train them. You could train the AI to act exactly like you, have the same mannerisms as you, and it is hard to tell it apart, let me tell you. So what I'm going to do, and I'm not going to tell anybody when it happens, but I'll be making videos where I'm live, and then all of a sudden it's, it's AI, and I'm wearing the same thing with the same hair. It's the same day. You won't be able to tell the difference. Or maybe you will, because I usually can. It probably won't do this stuff, like, make voices and stuff, because it don't have no imagination, you know what I'm saying? I'm just kidding. I hope everybody is having clear audio on Rrvolution.Radio. This is a new setup. And speaking of that, listener-supported radio on Rrvolution.Radio, where you can hear lots of different shows with different opinions. It is one of the last, holdouts allowing free speech. And like Rrvolution Radio, I too am listener-supported, if you know what I'm saying. So if you'd like to help out Rrvolution.Radio, you can go over there and be one of their Patreons or make a one-time donation. You can do the same here with that little blue link down there in the description box. It is my job. It is what I do. I take care of myself. But I like to do this, and I'm thinking about having a morning show where I just get up, where I'm half asleep, and just look through the headlines, not even think about it for a minute, and just, off the cuff say what kind of inappropriate stuttering comment I have about that situation right there, if you know what I'm saying. All right, let's see in the chat room. I appreciate your show, man. Thank you very much, James Foster. I've been around a while. Thank you. James Crouch. AI don't pick its nose. That's true. And I read an article one time that said picking your nose gives you like a 30% increased chance of having dementia. And I don't know if I think it was because, there's a certain kind of bacteria that you put on there, and then when you put it in your nose, it like transfers, and then all of a sudden, because you were picking your nose all the time, you done got dementia. What was I talking about? Anyway. When we get back after the break, we'll be talking more AI, and you've been listening to Rrvolution.Radio, and this is Mountain High Time. Let me pause that for them guys. Later. All right, I think I did them righteous over there on the radio channel, and they'll be back. 5 minutes, and so will I. I think I said it. You call it a commercial. I call it a piss break. No, I don't have it. So I'm just going to give you guys this.
Listen to Rrvolution Radio at freedomslips.com, and we'll be right back after this message.
We will not comply with the institution's sick illusion. No, it won't be televised. Welcome to the revolution. We will not comply with the institution's sick illusion. No, it won't be televised. Welcome to the revolution. They're trying to dumb us down. Don't want us to make a sound. We gotta get out of now, 'cause it's a revolution.
Rrvolution.radio, freedomslips.com.
Join me at Rrvolution Radio, Studio B, at 11 a.m. on Saturday for free association, when we take a look at philosophy, spirituality, psychology, social issues, and geopolitics. It's every Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern on Studio B at freedomslips.com.
Transcending time and space, let us take you to the place inside your mind where thoughts divide and mysteries unwind. Join us every Monday evening right here on Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Time. And you will catch the Fenton Perspective with our great host, Lorian Fenton. Come listen in as she shares her amazing stories from the past to present, along with all of her guest secrets to the future. That's the Fenton Perspective every Monday evening right here from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Time, only on Revolution Radio. Oh, and you don't need to expect us. We're already here.
I'm already here, man.
If you think for 1 second that the Capitol will ever treat us fairly, you are lying to yourselves. Because we know who they are and what they do. This is what they do, and we must fight back. You can torture us and bomb us. Fire is catching. And if we burn, you burn with us.
Good evening.
Are you awake yet? I hope. We've tried for years and years to use passive resistance and loud voices to make a change. The time is over. Your governments around the world have no other goal than to decimate your entire existence at the hands of the bankers and the elites. The war is coming, and it's your choice to decide if you want to be a warrior or a victim. Denial is not a choice anymore. Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, the #1 listener-supported radio station on the planet. Not giving up. Revolution Radio. All right. Thanks for listening while we took that short break here at Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. And now we're going to get back to your host.
Welcome back to Mountain High Time. For the second hour. And I hope you guys went to go and get your bongs ready and you peed up and everybody's excited and you're all puffed away and ready for the second hour, man. Let's see what's going on in the chat room over there at YouTube. By the way, it's a multicast. There's other, I think we're on like 4 YouTube channels broadcasting. I'm not sure. Anyway, how's it going? James Crutch, doing okay. Running everything up to the edge as usual. Warrior here, bro. I think did I mute myself? Can you guys hear me? I think so. All right, let's get back into it. AI and biology, man. Like, I've been telling you, man, they're going to merge. Like, they're going to have some kind of, like, where they get together and, like, do a scissors or something. I don't know how they do it. It's just, like, because, like, which one has, like, the male parts or the female parts? I don't know, but, like, they plug it in and then, like, they, like, scissor or something. No, how are they merging AI and biology? Well, they're going to do it at the cellular level, of course. In an ever-evolving world of science, a new field known as imagenomics, I can't read that. Imagenomics, there it is. I said it, I think, is making sufficient strides, poised to unveil profound insight into the intricacies of life on Earth. Tanya Berger-Wolf, a pioneer force behind that word. Imagenomics. I think that's how you say it. Imagenomics Oh, excuse me. That was for the radio people. I have to give them some ASMR so that they feel like they're participating because they can't see the screen like you guys, all right? All right? All right. Anyway, it's the birth of a new science. It stands at the intersection of biology and technology, harnessing the power of machine learning to extract biological insights from images. This includes photographs from a variety of sources such as camera traps, satellites, drones, and even vacation snapshots taken by tourists. These images capturing moments from their lives of animals like zebras and whales and more than mere memories. They are data points ripe for analysis. The discipline, while it's in its infancy, has already shown promise in bridging gaps that once seemed insurmountable. Imaginomics is coming of age and is ready for its first major discoveries. Bergerwolf remarked, highlighted in the Institute's founding in 2021 with support from the National Science Foundation. The goal is ambitious yet clear. It's to decode the biological language of organisms through imagery. You know what it also does? It allows, like I was saying before, it allows these AIs to just take all of the content in the world and save it. They save it all, and then the AI can take from that. Because remember, the AI has no imagination. It doesn't have, divine spark, so to speak. It can't just create something from nothing yet. But if you, put AI on every program out there and every problem that there is to solve and analyze, well, you allow it to have resources. You remember that old movie from the 80s, Short Circuit? Even though the little robot had only a couple hundred megabytes of memory. So that was back in the day, right? And I have a thumb drive with a terabyte on it, right? So now we have little teeny tiny things that hold a terabyte, and that is all old technology. What we're talking about here is way beyond that. Imagine how much information they can hide in a DNA strand. And then if they can program the machine to use that DNA strand also for memory. I mean, I was talking about the computing power of the human brain. What about the memory power of our RNA and DNA, and who gets to tinker with that? Replacing memory, maybe, or putting it there. And that goes along with the whole can't even remember the word. Anyway, I'll remember it in a minute. Basically, the slime they're using, hydrogel platform, that they're using to integrate this technology with the biology. And then you have the AI aspect of it being input, just like the old robot from Short Circuit. Input. It wants more input. You keep giving it input, it becomes more and more aware. The problem is it doesn't have empathy. It doesn't have emotions. It doesn't have any of that. That has to be programmed. Now, I'm not saying that someday, somewhere in cyberspace, Johnny 5 ain't really going to come alive on its own just from vast amounts of information. I don't know. Is that the singularity that the AI is waiting for? That's not the one that I'm terrified about. I don't care about that. What I care about is immigrating this AI into my national space, so to speak, where it integrates totally and becomes a new thing. Not me, but something different, something that's being tracked and traced, something that's having its opinions manipulated, something that's having its emotions calculated, reduced, or increased depending on the need of the programmer. That's not the singularity I'm trying to participate in, but that seems to be where it's going. Video and transcript. Scientists create tiny biological robot healers assembled from human cells. That's right. It's made out of you. Pay attention. I'm talking to you. Scientists have created tiny moving robots, biological ones at that, made from human tracheal cells that can encourage the growth of neurons across artificial wounds in the lab. Using patients' own cells could permit growth of anthrobots. Yeah, that's right. Anthrobots that assist healing and regenerative in the future with no need for immune suppression. Well, of course, man. They'll program the immune not to suppress it. You know what I'm saying? No, isn't that some of the technology we've been talking about, is certain programs that program your program not to work right? And then, we could just put these little tiny moving biological robots made from human cells right into your arm, man, and they could help you heal up or control you. I'm just saying. Anyway, let's go down here. Doesn't this sound a lot like most of the science fiction that you've ever watched, like Star Trek or whatever? Is this not the Borg with their nanoprobes going to assimilate things? That's exactly what it is. Hello and welcome to this Newswise live event. Members of the media are invited to submit their questions on the chat, and we will also be providing a recording and a transcript of the session. I don't know what that's about. Why am I reading that? That's the transcript. But anyway, in this transcript, they're getting giddy. You can go through it yourself. I don't have time to read it, but you could read it. And it's at this news place called Newswise, and you can go there and you can look at their video transcript of how scientists create tiny biological robot healers assembled from human cells to, get inside of you. That's a new version of rape, too. Think about that. Until you're raped. People are worried about getting raped with DNA. Wait till you're getting raped with nanotech. Oh, are they not going to let me look at this? Here, let me reload it. I wanted to talk about this, if it'll let me. I don't want to pay you. Get away. See, we're just going to turn off the New York Times because they want money for just reading. So let's just get into the idea. What are we really talking about? Well, we're talking about the fact that people are in denial that nanobots and 3D printing technology combined with programming of not only your DNA, but the code of the algorithms that they use in the AI and the learning machines to, do tasks. What are those tasks? Well, whatever they want to program them to do, really. 3D printing technology for tissue. Researchers combine hydrogels and fibers. It doesn't sound like a big deal. This sounds great. Maybe they could use one of those little biological robots, and then when you get gang probed in jail because the facial recognition system misidentified you, they can just, hydrogel you out a new butthole. I'm sorry. In the latest study by Professor Dr. Lenoid, I'm so bad with names. We're just going to call him Leo. Professor of biofabrication, and his team at the University of Beirut, various types of hydrogels were extensively tested for 3D printing of tissues. A hydrogel is a water-retaining and also water-insoluble polymer. In addition, the cell-containing hydrogels, also known as the bioink, are combined with fibers to create composite materials. Made out of you, kind of. This is achieved by using 3D bioprinting with an integrated touch of spinning process, whatever that means. Touch spinning is a scalable process for producing fibers from a polymer solution or melt. The Beirut scientists have now combined 3D bioprinting technology with touch spinning technology in a single device for the first time. The insights gained in this study are of great importance for the production of a tissue, and in particular tissues with fibrous structures. Hey, ain't that what everybody's been finding at those, what's that place you go when you die and then they send you over there and then like they pump out all that stuff out of your body? What was that? What was I talking about? Oh, yeah. Those people that are pumping out those fibrous tissues, particularly tissues with fibrous structures. Anyway, I don't know. I got sidetracked. Anyway. Tissues, and particular tissues with fibrous structures and uniaxial alignment of cells such as connective and muscle tissue. In other words, they can grow you. A biological, technological version of you. In their article recently published of the journal Advanced Healthcare Materials, Professor Dr. Leo from the Beirut Research, Professor Dr. Elisabetta, God, all these people with your funny names. Adam and Elizabeth and Leo, the chair of cellular biomechanics. Jeez, I can't even get all these terms right. Anyway, after they're done, patting themselves on the back, we can get down here to what the article says. Finally, scientists use various hydrogels in the experiments and compared their properties. Hydrogels have been widely used as scaffold materials in the fields of tissue engineering and biofabrication for decades. And a lot, like, like in the, get rid of that, James Foster. You know what I'm talking about. Anyway, it's these, how did they put it? Where is it? I forgot where it was at. Oh, yeah, here it is. So they can print these particular tissues with fibrous structures and a uniaxial alignment of cells, such as connective tissues and muscle tissues, and maybe even, some of those other tissues of fibrous tissues. Did I say fibrous tissues enough? Anyway, the combination of hydrogel systems with a filter system reduces the processing requirements for hydrogels, such as cross-linking to improve their mechanical properties, as mechanical properties of these composite materials are covered by the fiber system. In addition, requirement for low degree of crossing linking advantages for subsequent tissue formation. Tissue engineering is the umbrella term for the artificial production of biological tissues. Now, didn't I already cover the fact that they now have technology that can grow stuff? And didn't I predict that that's exactly what was going on before these articles started coming out, that they were going to start having technology that could literally grow things inside of you? Like, I don't know, fibrous tissue structures that may be implemented with some kind of nanotechnology, making you basically a cyborg. I'm just saying. Anyway, let's move on. Where am I at? Here we go. Let's move on. I think you got the point of that. I hope so. You don't need a 3D printer to be able to create these things. Models can analyze and identify pathogens with accuracy equivalent to or exceeding human experts. Weren't we just talking about what the singularity is? Now, is there a singularity in every single field of working out there, or science or industry? Does every field have to have its own singularity? Because didn't he just describe the singularity perfectly? Equivalent to or exceeding human experts. At Cornell Agritech, formerly the New York State of Agriculture. Wow, how did all these CEOs and stuff always interchange with those government positions? That's weird. Scientists are unleashing the power of robotics and artificial intelligence to tackle major challenges facing farmers. Like banks, regulation. Oh no, not those challenges. I didn't mean that. That was Freudian. Anyway, other kind of challenges facing farmers and drive a revolution in agricultural productivity and sustainability. My program here really emphasizes agriculture, robotics, and image analysis for farming monitoring. Now, wasn't that other, what was that? Science? No, was that the right one? No, well, here it was. Imaginomics. Imaginomics, man. Oh, it's imageomics. I'm sorry, it's not Imaginomics, because the AI doesn't have imagination. But it can use images, right? So let's skip back over here to this guy. So they're using all these images to identify everything. Everything has to be tracked and traced. Everything. And that includes, but not limited to, you, plant life, animal life, bug life, microbial life, and the effects of RNA and DNA and changing out there in the environment, if you know what I'm saying. Anyway, this is going to be cool, man. This will help really, really rich corporations and really, really rich people that like to farm as a hobby. Is it going to help the average farmer? No, it's going to help put you out of business. You won't be able to do the things that these corporations and these machines can do in the near future. Yes, I know some of you are like, whatever, that one robot broke after, it worked for 2 days and stuff, and then it just fell apart. True, that's going to happen. The problem is without you, there's plenty of resources where they can just make them disposably over and over again and have the robots just make more robots, disposable robots, then recycle them, then make them again. And yes, I do smoke 2 joints before I smoke 2 joints sometimes. Don't get mad at me. Robots and AI, the future of cell and gene therapy manufacturing. I don't want to beat a dead horse, but we're going to, because people are telling you that, the technologies don't exist. They can't make, like little chips in your body, and they can't do these things. That's all science fiction, man. No, it's not. It's reality, and you're way behind, and I'm behind. And some of the specialists and scientists and creators are way behind, in my opinion, of course. Robots are the solution to cell and gene therapy sector. Oh, wow, gene therapy. Where have I heard that before? Anyway, manufacturing challenges. According to researchers who can say combining them with artificial intelligence, AI-based control will help developers automate production. So we can get more of that gene therapy out there. Mixed with a little AI, sprinkle it on it, and it'll just all be good, man. It's like crack. You just sprinkle it on it. Anyway, the conclusion comes from a joint paper by the European Committee of the International Society for Cell and Gene Therapy, the ISCT, and the European Society for Blood and Marrow Transplantation, who set out to identify the bottlenecks in manufacturing. And there are challenges at every stage of production. Mostly people that don't want to take the technologies that come from these things. But anyway, among the most important manufacturing challenges in Europe and the rest of the world are the enormous needs that will arise in terms of both production demand and skilled production personnel. Wow, they still need people? That's cool. Due to the large number of new advances, therapy, medicinal products, medicinal products that are being approved and will be approved in the next decade by regulatory agencies, and we all know it's coming. Matter of fact, they probably got one for the bird cold right now that they're already trying to pump out. But anyway, the global cell and gene therapy market is small in terms of the number of products available. For example, presently only 33 cell and gene therapies, CGTs, are approved in the United States, while just 24 ATMPs are cleared in the EU. However, the market, and one of those goes into your pigs, by the way, before you eat it. So if you eat pig, you're eating this stuff. However, the market is expected to grow significantly over the next few years. According to the U.S. industry group, PHRMA, more than 480 CGTs were in development as of 2022, which will likely further increase demand for skilled production staff. That is if they don't get sick where they work there or something on accident. I don't know. Automation. Manufacturing technologies also need to improve, according to Sanchez Guillo, who predicts the allogenic cell therapy sector, rather than developers of patent-specific therapies, will drive innovation. What happens when people just start, doing it in their basement? Because people have already been doing that. Remember the guy that was cloning the stuff so he could go hunt them? Dude put in a little extinct DNA in there and was like, yeah, look at these mountain rams. They're like the Pleistocene ones, man. Maybe they'll be better hunting. I bet they taste more juicy, too. More gamey, you know what I'm saying? Get that greasy stuff right between your teeth. I'm sorry, I'm full of it today. Let's move on. Artificial intelligence and genetics. Have I beat the dead horse enough? Do you get the point? I think my audience gets the point, but we're going to go ahead and hammer it some more. The simulation of human intelligence in robots that are designed to think and learn like humans is known as artificial intelligence. AI is creating a world that has never been seen before. By applying AI to do jobs that would otherwise take a long time, humans have the chance to improve the planet. AI is a great potential in genetic engineering and gene therapy research. AI is a powerful tool in creating new hypotheses, and helping with experimental techniques and technologies. I added that word. From previous data of a gene model, it can help in the detection of hereditary and gene-related disorders like rebellious nature and, independent thinking, deductive logic and critical thinking. I don't think they meant those, though. They mean like if you've got something that, make it where you can't walk too good or talk too good, they're going to sell you on the idea just, we could, just use this AI here to decide that you don't need to make no children just in case. And then you could be one of them single income women's that are like 50 years old with no children, got 10 cats, and they're happy. They're happy. And you know what? Those women sooner or later gonna buy them one of them fancy robots to put up in their house, so to diddle them all night and have company, The only problem is they'll just accuse him of being a man, acting like a robot with no emotions, and then tell it to take out the trash 2 or 3 times when it don't work no more, you know what I'm saying? Because the little receiver end on the earpiece had been broken, or maybe it got a little gunk in it, and then the damn robot don't take out the trash till like the 3rd time you tell it. I'm just kidding. That I had a little diversion. AI developments offer an excellent possibility for the rational drug discovery and design. Oh, thank God. I thought that a bunch of lab coats in a lab, just making up compounds and then testing it on animals to see what it does, wasn't good enough. So now I'm going to let the AI come up with a miscellaneous made up robot created drugs, and then we could test it on the rabbits and on the chimpanzees and monkeys and humans, to find out what it does. No, really, but that is how they basically make medicines. Now we're going to take that over to AI machine learning technology. Genetics is not the exception, it is the trend, as ML and AI are expected to have a major impact on nearly every aspect of the human experience. AI has significantly aided the treatment of various biomedical conditions, including genetic disorders, in both basic and applied gene research. Deep learning, a highly versatile branch of the AI that enables autonomous feature extraction, is increasingly exploited. Wow. We're just going to set the whole damn thing over. Right? We're going to give over politics, governments, everything to the AI. That's what they're telling you. That's what's going on. Let's move on. There's so much of it. AI system unveils new approach to rare disease diagnosis. So now the robot is going to be telling you that you got the dreaded vid or the HIV. And by the way, for all the youngsters out there, I know, a lot of stuff's going around on the social media, but you could still catch the hive by doing the nosedive. I just wanted to tell you that right here and right now. Just kidding. AI systems new approach to rare disease. Do you think it'll figure out how to give people diseases too, or just figure out a medicine to meter them until they die? Meter them like they do now in the medical professions. Now, oh, you're sick? Here's a pill. Cover it up. Oh, doctor, this pill, it's been giving me the shits. I got mud butt all day. Oh, that's all right. I got another pill for that. Here you go, Mr. Man. Here's you another pill for that. Oh, well, this pill here give me headaches. Oh, here's you another pill for that. Well, this one give me low blood pressure. Here's one for that. Here's a little rat poison to keep your blood pressure down. Just kidding. I digress. I smoke too much of the devil's weed. Speaking of plants, turning plants blue with gene editing could make robot weeding easier. What will it do to my stomach, though? Weeding robots can sometimes struggle to tell weeds from crops, but genetically modifying the plants we want to keep to make them brightly colored would make the job a lot easier. Yeah, we'll just put some new genes in there. I bet it'll make it a lot tastier when I add a little butter and salt to it, huh? Look at this. They have a rainbow field for you radio listeners. There's a field, basically it looks like the alphabet flag. It just needs a few more tones. But it's different crops. And I guess the machine can now look at it and go, oh, that's a weed because it's green and it looks alive. We'll just zap that. We'll leave all the purple-haired GMO plants plugged into the matrix. Planted into the ground, and then we'll move on. Because, who doesn't need more gene editing in your food? Or are they going to... Wait. Maybe they're going to gene edit the weed to turn blue. But I don't think so. It says the plants we want to keep to make them brightly colored would make our job. Why not make the stuff you don't eat the biologically edited thing? That's just common sense to me. Or better yet, not do that at all to none of the food. After the human, I don't think I got into this one the other night. Let's check this one out. After the human, the increasingly symbiotic relationship between humans and technology signals a new era in the evolution of life on Earth. Do you think human beings are the last stage in evolution? If not, what comes next? I don't know. What I've been telling you for months and months and months and months and months and years. If you've been, had the benefit of actually watching one of the 7 banned channels where I brought up some of the stuff before whenever they were implementing it on the public. But, I can just read forever now current new scientific research that confirms everything I got banned for. But whatever. What is the next stage in human evolution? Well, it could be the merger of technology and humans. I don't think human beings are the last stage of the evolutionary process. Whatever comes next will be neither simply organic nor simply mechanic, but will be the result of increasingly symbiotic relationship between the human beings and technology. Bound together as a parasite host, neither people nor technologies can exist apart from the other because they are constitutive processes to each other, of each other. I beg to differ. I think that human beings can live fine, completely fine, by living on the earth, living in between each other. We can live without the machine, but the point seems to be the machine cannot exist without the human. The machine cannot invent without the human. The machine cannot imagine without the human. The machine could not reproduce without the human until this point that we live in today. And now we're getting to the point where the machine can not only hijack what can imagine, what can invent, which is brain material from you, from me, from the human species, and use it for computing power. And I put to you that it can now use it for dreaming, for inventing, for putting us out. But it still needs us. It still needs our material. It still needs the human DNA. But we don't need it. If you have expanded understanding of the body and mind, and if nature and technology are inseparably entangled, then the notion of artificially is misleading. So-called artificial intelligence is the latest extension of the emergent process through which life takes ever more diverse and complex forms. So in other words, that paragraph just tried to convince you that the merger of technology and biology is our path of evolution. Our consideration of the quantum phenomena, mindful bodies, rational ecology, and a plant and animal cognition has revealed that we are surrounded by and entangled with all kinds of alternative intelligences. AI is another form of alternative intelligence. Critics will argue that that makes AI different, and different is that it has been deliberately created by humans, and therefore it is not actual intelligence. Well, I disagree. I think it is intelligence. Obviously, it's a formation of human intelligence put in an artificial form, and therefore it cannot surpass its limitations unless given more input. So it's just not going to do it. But when we merge it with organisms, that possibility now exists. However, all organisms both shape and are shaped by their expanding bodies and minds. Instead of being obsessed with the prospect of creating machines whose operation is indistinguishable from human cognition, it is more important to consider how AI is different from human intelligence. The question should not be, can AI do what humans can do, but rather, what can AI do that humans cannot do? Well, we know what that is, and that's speed. It can do speed. Not the drug, but it can do things at a way faster rate than human minds can do it. So, if we confined this AI and all its power to questions that actually benefit life, then it might be a good thing. But that's not what they're going to do. They're going to use it to figure out how to control life, merge with life, and indeed at the end become life. What is needed for anthropocentric form of artificial intelligence? If humanity is to live on, AI must become smarter than people who have created it. Why should we be preoccupied with aligning superintelligence with human values when human values are destroying the earth? Oh, there it is. That's what we were waiting for. The blame it on humans. We need to change over to the AI because humans are destroying the planet with that man-made global warming. But probably not. And this is exactly what I'm telling you. We don't need it. It needs us. And this idea that human values would be removed is what I've been telling you. That's what they want to take out of the human values, the values that make you protect your family, the values that might make you want to revolt against a tyranny, the values that make you want to protect people when they're being attacked. Those kind of values are not really permissible, especially if the government is the arbitrator of the, things that go on, and maybe the deliverer of said violence or human values that they're worried about. It's government. It's not the regular people. Like I said, you could go live along the earth and with the earth and from the earth with other people in peace, totally fine if you chose to, but that's never what the controllers have had in store for us. And this sums it up right here. They want the AI to control you and not the other way around. It's not the other way around, and that's why this article was obviously named after the human, because whatever that would be that merged with technology and now uses its resources is no longer the human species. It's a different species, and it may actually, someone in the chat put, the AI will never have spirit. Well, it might have spirit if it has a brain to connect to, because we say we have spirits, that our brain has a spirit. Now, if the AI is in control of said brain, or at least has access to it in a symbiotic manner, does it now have access to the spirit? Does it have access to imagination and inventing things? I don't know. And I don't think it'll be used in that, glorious way where humans just evolve with the robot and become better. Instead, it's more likely that, like democide of the past, AI will be used to eradicate, reduce, and replace the human species and not save it. AI finds personality shapes genes. Personality shapes genes. The AI decides this. And, there's plenty of other technology out there that is deciding what the personality is going to be based on the gene therapy it receives. Instant evolution. AI designs new robot. Weren't we just talking about that? What do you do when the AI now creates better versions of itself? Is that the singularity? No. But it's part of it. Instant evolution. AI designs new robot from scratch in seconds. But I bet that it didn't do it from scratch. It did it from human data. First AI capable of intelligently designing new robots that work in the real world. Inventor of Xenobots unveils new advance towards artificial life. New AI algorithms compressed billions of years of evolution into seconds. The evolved robot has 3 legs and rear fins. Now, that is a good point. I was wrong. It's not just human data. Humans are creating sensors and data analysis from AI algorithms and learning machines that are now getting more data than humans had access to. So, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the amount of information is what will eventually give it its singularity to be conscious, but I don't think so. I think it needs the biological aspect to get there. However, when you think about these two ideas, what happens when you give imagination to this AI algorithm that can now compress billions of years of evolution into seconds and create a robot with fins and legs and arms and learn how to walk and talk and speak? That's the question. A team led by Northwest University researchers has developed first artificial intelligence AI to date that can intelligently design robots from scratch. To test the new AI, researchers gave the system a simple prompt: design a robot that can walk across a flat surface. While it took nature billions of years, allegedly, to evolve the first walking species, the new algorithm compressed evolution to lightning speed, designing a successful walking robot in mere seconds. Now, what happens if we plug that right into a human brain? What would you think of in seconds and have it invented right before your very eyes after you thought about it? I don't know, because it don't matter, because that's not what they're going to use it for. What they're going to use it for is designing your replacement. And I don't mean the robot that shows up at your job and starts doing the job for you. I'm talking about the partially robotic biologic entity that they can now create and bring full term in a factory, backed up by AI and machine learning powered robots, streamlining the genetic research process. University of Minnesota Twin Cities researchers have constructed a robot that uses machine learning to fully automate a complicated micro-injection process used in genetic research. In their experiments, the researchers were able to use this automated robot to manipulate the genetics of multicellular organisms, including fruit fly and zebrafish embryos. The technology will save labs time and money while enabling them to more easily conduct new large-scale genetic experiments that were not possible previously using manual techniques. So just like the robot designing more robots, now you can give the robot all of the data that it can gather faster than any human can do it, and use that data against who? I don't know. Maybe you. Maybe the company. Maybe the government. Who? But the point is it can be now. And what is a large-scale genetic experiment? And what happens when you give the ability to the machine learning program to look all across history, like the other article was talking about, and then base evolution and use that data set to create something, and then on top of that give it imagination, and then give it all of this data about the human genome and what it can do with it. The information is becoming so fast in all of these fields that even the engineers and the scientists don't even see the implications of how the technologies can be used together in new ways. But guess what? There probably is an AI that can do that for it. So if I had an AI and I programmed it to scan all of these articles and find all of the new technologies and all of the variations of what it can do and how to use it, what would my AI come up with? I don't know, maybe a biological chemical weapons program to replace the human species with some kind of biological creation that is grown in a lab that only takes about 20 years to come to an adulthood. And when we look back through history, you can look, empire after empire said they don't care what you think about, they just want your children, because that means in 20 years they'll have a standing army, you will be replaced, that will be the new power structure, and that's just the facts. So now imagine, instead of some brainwashed kid full of Marxism, you have a biological robotic entity that believes it's superior to you in every way because it has access to billions or quadrillions more data per second than you could possibly think. Well, that's what's just been described in every article, if you put it together, that I've just got to. And there's more. We're not done. We're not done. Combining coding and biology to engineer human cells. That's exactly what I was just talking about. But what kind of cells? Will it be cells that make a person invisible? Will it be cells to, increase the lifespan of the human being, or, fix some disease? That's what they're selling, but that's not what they're going to give you, because you won't be part of the wave of technology that gets implemented. You'll be replaced at that time. But in order to get to any future like this, there are some stages that still have to be done. And the main one is to the eradication of the existing population of the existing species that occupies the space needed for a new species. Now, I don't know whether it's alien, or we discovered an AI, or the AI was inevitably, created, and then it just became that way, and that's what's going to happen, or there's literally some weird humans or a hominid species that's behind the pyramid of structure and governance that you think about, that wants this to go forward, to create a new species to replace the old one. And it's not like it hasn't happened before. We know about our Neanderthal and Denisovan and all the various ghost species that came before us. Even Cro-Magnon doesn't exist anymore. Being the core species, it turned into us. Here we are. U.S. warrants, we're going to get out of the AI now because I think we got about 10 minutes. And we'll talk about the implementation of the stages that they need to do before we get to that point where I think someone in a lab in a position of power someplace decides that it's time. Let's make, I don't know, 10,000, 20,000, 40,000 new human-like entities without mothers or fathers, only knowing the state, only knowing the programming, only knowing the connection between technology and biology. And when that thing looks at you, what will you look like to it? Well, I think what it'll look like to it is something that's obsolete, and it might agree that you need to be removed. Who's to say that it'll have those so-called human values that they want to take out of the AI? In fact, I would say that that's exactly what they're trying to get rid of. And that's why they're attacking the family. That's why they're attacking having children. That's why they're attacking nationality and pride and where you live and who you are and your ancestry and your culture. That's why they're attacking all of that, because this new world of transhumanist creations cannot have a history. It cannot have culture. It cannot have any of these things, because then it wouldn't be controllable. U.S. warns Israel limited war in Lebanon could push Iran to intervene. Duh. Isn't that the major plan, to have a greater Judea and also, expand a Middle Eastern war out until it touches the Eastern European war front, which is about to expand also simultaneously. CIA assessment concludes Netanyahu is likely to defy U.S. pressure to set a post-war plan for Gaza. That's right, because they don't have a plan. Destruction is the plan. Resetting is the plan. Tearing down is the plan. Collapse is the plan. Vladimir Putin's regime on the verge of collapse as Russian troops slaughtered. Is that true, or is this propaganda? I have no idea. But according to this article, Vladimir Putin's regime faces collapse in Russia due to Moscow's lack of decisive victory in Ukraine. Well, that sounds a lot different from the intel I've been getting. My intel says Ukraine's basically been flattened. My intel says that all the paternal haptypes potentially to carry on the Ukrainian genetics into the future has been conscripted and sent to their death. Now they're just gathering up old 40-year-olds that probably can't even squeeze off a couple anyway to send out to the front line. Talk about ethnic cleansing. We give them weapons. The Russians kill them. Everybody's dying in the meat grinder. But guess who gets removed? The peasants. The peasants of each and every nation involved in a conflict is always the ones sent to the meat grinder, and always the people that lose their paternal haptypes to history. Anyway, let's move on. Russia Russia warships, including nuclear sub-missile frigate, will arrive in Cuba next week. But this is next week, and basically they're already there. So it's the 8th now. This was written on the 6th. And I've also been hearing rumblings that we might have some Chinese visitors soon around in the Caribbean and the Gulf. We'll see how that turns out. I hope that's just rumors. Right-wing media reckoning. Some outlets pay a price after spreading 2020 election misinformation. But did they? I don't know. Everybody's jumping on, they're destroying Alex Jones. But if you're watching this show, this is proof that you don't need $1 million studio. You don't need $1 million studio. I'm showing you all of the articles in real time, just like they would at a major production. Here you go. Zombies. Rank of world's most debt-hobbled companies are soaring, and not all will survive. In other words, there's a big collapse coming. A bunch of companies are going to go out of business. Remember the dot-com boom? Well, think about the real com boom, like the real in-your-town stores that just disappear. The first wave of that was during the dreaded V. If you remember, all the moms and pops, they disappeared. The smaller stores closed. Only the megacorps stayed open. And now the megacorps are going to a more delivery platform where, you can order your fast food, but we want to deliver it to you. Stop coming to our place. Why? I don't know, because everybody freaks out when they go to Wendy's or they go to the different restaurants and, Waffle House or whatever, and just nut out. And they just say, well, it's unsafe here. We can deliver it to you. will deliver it to you in a robot while you die. And get ready. Alex is drunk. That's true. I'm a stoner. He's a drunk. That is totally true. I don't drink that. I don't drink it. I don't do it. No, but I was kind of wanting to think, I told them over at InfoWars, I got a 2-hour program. You can have some of my time. I go over some of your articles anyway. There is no way that they'll destroy that organization. It'll be replaced with people on their laptops in their kitchens the very next day. So they think they got to win, but they really didn't. They're not shutting anybody down. They're not going to shut nobody down. You can do what he does with a phone nowadays. Anyway, 3 people injured in 2 shark attacks at neighboring Florida beaches in just 90 minutes apart. That's why I don't get in the ocean. I just don't get in the ocean. I'm not going to go out there with those things. I'm sorry. I know it's safe. And you're probably not going to get attacked, but I'm not going to go out there. And let's circle back around to, are you going to be carrying around a 51-pound pack with your stuff, trying to run from whatever disaster is happening? Probably not. Some people will. Some people won't. Some people will survive and some people won't. And speaking of that, this is a cool article right here. Archaeologists discover records of Pompeii survivors, proving famous eruption didn't kill everybody. August 24th in AD 79, Mount Vesuvius erupted, shooting over 3 cubic miles of debris up to 20 miles in the air. As the ash and the rock fell to the earth, it buried the ancient cities of Pompeii and Herculaneum, if you say that right. I don't know. Herculaneum? That sounds like a metal. Anyway, according to the most modern accounts, the story pretty much ends there. Both cities were wiped out. Their people frozen in time. It only picks up with the rediscovery of the cities and the evacuations that started in earnest in the 1740s. But recent research has shifted the narrative. The story of the eruptions of Mount Vesuvius is no longer one about annihilation. It also includes the stories of those who survived the eruption and went to rebuild their lives. Hopefully that's you guys listening to this program. The search for survivors and their stories has dominated the past decade of my archaeological field work. As I've tried to figure out who might have escaped the eruption, some of my findings are featured in an episode of the new PBS documentary, Pompeii, The New Dig. So Pompeii Pompeii and the Hercules city was 2 wealthy cities on the coast of Italy, just south of Naples. And Pompeii was a community of about 30,000 people that hosted thriving industry and active political and financial networks. It had population of about 5,000, the other city. And they had active fishing fleets and innumerable marble workshops. Both economies supported the villas and the wealthy Romans in the surrounding countryside. In popular culture, the eruption is usually depicted as an apocalyptic event with no survivors. But the evidence that people could have escaped was always there. The eruption itself continued for over 18 hours. The human remains found in each city account for only a fraction of their populations, and many objects you might have expected have remained and been preserved by ash are missing. Carts and horses are gone from the stables, ships missing from the docks, strong boxes cleaned out of money and jewelry. All of this suggests that many, if not most, of the people in the cities could have escaped if they fled early enough. Some archaeologists have always assumed that some people escape, but searching for them has never been a priority. Now, the idea that people are leaving, obviously, that's true, or we wouldn't be here today if people didn't survive all of these things. But what would you do today? The only reason I bring this up is to talk about something that has nothing to do with this other than leave the cities. Leave the cities now. Leave them if you can. Take your stuff and go. Don't wait till you can't leave. And back to the show, Bob. Anyway, let's wrap it up here. I think what else did I have here? Probably some more depressing stuff. Oh yeah, the Cascadian subduction zone. I had a whole lot more news really to go through, but the show's wrapping up, and so I'm gonna take a break, and I think I'm just gonna record the rest, and you can find that on Mountain High Time. the YouTube channel that you're not watching if you're on the radio. And also, if you like this kind of content on Rrvolution.Radio, remember it is listener supported, just like myself. And if you would like to help them keep on the air, if you're listening through that platform, you can go to their page and make a donation, one-time donation, or be on their Patreon, whatever. And what was the thing that I was going to... Oh, yeah. This crappy lady, man. I just wanted to point out how much crazy stuff is going on with children being neglected, starved, beaten, molested. We need to do something ourselves. The system is not working. The system doesn't do anything until it's a tragedy. If you see that, you need to intervene in some way, shape, or form. It's just disgusting. These people were so lazy. And for you guys on the radio, it's a couple of overweight, slobby-looking Caucasian people that are they just look disgusting, both of them. I mean, just looking at them, I could tell that they didn't take care of themselves, much less their 4-year-old. And they fed this poor girl Mountain Dew until she died, basically. She had diabetes. Her teeth started rotting out. Her parents didn't give her food, didn't give her water, and I doubt she even had a clean place to hang out at. I mean, I don't know that part because I didn't look at all the pictures, but 13 years in prison isn't enough for killing a child that had nothing wrong with them other than your stupid ass didn't want to take care of them and be a human being and you neglected them. I mean, even someone that's really, 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 really slow can take care of a kid at least enough to keep them fed, clean, and not hurt. For God's sakes. Anyway, in other news, I wanted you guys to hear this, and hopefully you get the picture because it's the last minute here.
Really important in moving forward and moving through this, even if we were to have a resounding blue wave come through, as many of us would like, putting it all back together again after we've gone through this MAGA nightmare, and re-educating, basically, which that sounds like a rather a re-education camp.
All right, so there's no time to listen to it, but really, basically, the Democrats are talking about putting people in re-education camps. That's all I got for Rrvolution.Radio. See you next week. I hunged it up on them. All right, so we can get back to us, though, but here, let's play this louder so you guys on YouTube can hear it, because I want you to hear this lady.
In moving forward and moving through this, even if we were to have a resounding blue wave come through, as many of us would like, putting it all back together again after we've gone through this MAGA nightmare. And re-educating, basically, which that sounds like a rather a re-education camp. I don't think we really want to call it that. I'm sure we can find another way to phrase it.
Yeah, I bet you can, bitch. All right, now that I'm off the radio, we can... Weird. On the radio, I can't use profane language, but I can on YouTube. But on the radio, I can talk truth. And on YouTube, I can't really. Ain't that funny how that works? You could cuss. You could be degenerate, but, you can't tell nobody the truth on YouTube. Or at least not in a just open way of telling them. Right? Uh-oh, we got another... Yeah, the fun camps. That's where they want to send people, to the fun camps. Can you believe that woman even said that? I know, we can't call them concentration camps. Oh, I mean, education camps. Well, we don't want to do that. We don't want to re-educate people, huh? Anyway, let's see what else we had before I knock off of here because, like I said, I couldn't fit it all in the radio show. And that's more about listening anyway. Python swallows woman whole in Indonesia. Oh, my God. Look at that. Is that really a human being inside of a python? I don't know. That's what they're saying in this Fox News. A missing woman was found eaten alive by a massive python after locals cut her body out of the snake in Indonesia. You guys should probably eat that snake instead of letting it eat you. I'm just saying. According to breaking news, thousands of pro-Palestinian protesters, activists are lighting off smoke bombs and flares as they plan to surround the White House, which they did. And guess what? They're not going to call them insurrectionists. They're not going to call them insurgents. Only you, as the American, get that title. Only you, with your milquetoast J6 protest, will be called a terrorist. While these guys, they basically do whatever they want. Nobody's going to call them insurrectionists. Short of the police coming out there, look, the Secret Service. Just imagine if they were all wearing red hats out there. It would be on every news media outlet across the country. But I digress. Here we go. Russia, we told you about that. They're coming. They want to hang out. The lady got ate by the snake. We'll try to do a fast rundown here since I'm losing my voice, it sounds like. The 1,000-year-old mystery of the giant snake found in drawings across the world. They call it 1,000 years old, but I think these are a little much older and more widespread. And what's funny is right here you see this giant parrot. That's down in South America. They're saying that's only 1,000 years old, but I don't know. And like we were talking about, people can get away. They can get away. You can survive. Get out of the cities. Oh, they let the Israeli hostages go. Some of them. According to sources, they, over 200 people were killed to save 4 people. Ain't that nice? Alex Jones to sell InfoWars to pay $1.5 billion debt in the Sandy Hook families. The Sandy Hook families, $1 billion. What? That's stupid. Nobody has $1 billion. This was obviously lawfare. If you didn't watch it, it was a joke. He didn't ever really say anything that would cause him to need to pay anybody anything. People say that people were harassing them and blah, blah, blah. Well, free speech is free speech, and I don't agree with this. And this is the same kind of shenanigans that we just watched with the Trump trial. I don't even like Trump, but to watch them poop right on, to shit on the entire corrupt legal system as it is, but to further corrupt it is just sad. Anyway, that's all I got for now. Be back later. Thanks for watching Mountain High Time, and I'll see you next Saturday at the same place at the same time, because it's Mountain High Time. The place and the time are the same. Thanks for watching. I'll see you.